Okay, so I'm in San Francisco, and I'm by Fisherman's Wharf, and I'm trying to find this restaurant, and the streets are all weird because they're one-way streets, and it's in a city that I'm not used to driving around. And I make the wrong turn. I'm on a one-way street. So my friend says, okay, make a left here, and so I follow her directions. Oh, turn right here. Oh, see, after that car, you're going to make a left. And I realize we're getting farther and farther away from the ocean, which I know where the wharf should be by the ocean. And then I ask her, do you know where you're going? And she says, oh no, I just thought that that'd be the right way. I'm like, why was I following you in the first place? So this brings me to the quote that I picked, which is by the Bible. It's in the Bible. If the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. I completely agree with this. I think this is true. And I'll give you 3 examples. The first is if you've ever tried to put anything together from IKEA. The second is if you've ever gotten relationship advice from someone who you should not be listening to. And the third example would be, well, we'll get to the third example a little bit later on. So the first example from IKEA. I love IKEA. You can get really cute furniture, and it's at a relatively low price. But the price that you pay is putting together this furniture by yourself, if you guys have ever gotten there. So if you've ever gotten a box from IKEA and not received the directions, all of a sudden you're contemplating why you bought that furniture in the first place. This happened to me where I was trying to put together some tower. It goes in the corner and you put your, I guess, like little knickknacks or trophies on it or something. And I opened the box and there were no directions. So my friend said that she would help me. So we're taking out all the pieces and laying them out and trying to see how things fit together, and she was of no help. She had no idea how to put it together too, so I don't know why. I mean, it was nice of her to offer her help, but we both had no idea what we were doing, so we ended up having to go online and get directions. So there's one example. Another example is when your friends try to give you advice and they have a string of failed relationships or they're players and they can't commit to one person, and they're trying to give you advice about this current problem that you have with your boyfriend or girlfriend. And it's like, why am I going to listen to you? Obviously you're not living by example. And that would be another example of how the blind lead the blind. A third example is I'm a music teacher, and I deal with many different types of levels of difficulty, I guess. So I have a lot of kids that can't read music, and sometimes I can't make all the rehearsals, and I'll have the section leaders try and help. And usually it's not helpful at all, because what ends up happening is, because they don't know all the information, they'll start to talk to the other students, and what ends up happening is mistakes just get passed down throughout the class. And then when I show up, I have to fix all these mistakes because the person who was doing the teaching really didn't know what they were talking about. So hopefully through these examples you can see how teachers or people who actually know what they're talking about are really important when you're trying to get valuable information. Thank you.
All right, I thought you had a nice visualization at the beginning that the audience could relate to. I thought it was funny. And a good transition to the quote. There's a very solid thesis. It's very straightforward. There's an excellent preview of the structure. However, it does get undermined by the fact that you lost that third point. I'm glad you remembered it as you went along. So I felt really good about what you had. Maybe I kind of dinged you a little bit because of forgetting that third point. But you found it again, and when you got to the body of the speech, it was no problem. Organizationally, everything was fine in the body of the speech. I thought you had very good detail on your first and third points. The second point seemed a little underdeveloped. And the first thing that popped in my head when you didn't get the directions on the IKEA thing is you're supposed to go to the website and find that online. You can find those things online immediately. That's their solution to everything nowadays, online stuff. And you mentioned that at the end, and I thought, well, getting your friend to try and help you through it, it sounded very repetitive to the first example that you used in the attention device. Everything on delivery is really solid. Your voice projects well. You've got good variety there. It's paced smoothly. Your gestures suggest that you're involved. Your facial expressions are very animated. I didn't see anything that I would say was problematic or indicative of anxiety, so all of that's really solid. The conclusion did feel a little bit rushed. It probably could have used a little bit more summary, but you did come back to the point that you were trying to make, and that gives the speech a greater sense of completeness. Thank you.